Hi, everybody. Welcome to another run of the Japan Society of Boston's member highlights. Today, we're going to be interviewing Kira.
Hello, my name is Kira Wencek.
So, our first question for you is how long have you been a member of Japan Society of Boston?
I've been a member of JSB since December of 2020, which is when I started working as an intern for them.
So, what drew you to JSB? What got you thinking that you should join JSB as a member and also as an intern?
So I actually found out about JSB through Anime Boston because I have gone to Anime Boston a couple of times and I'm on their like email listserv. And in 2020, obviously it was COVID, so they canceled Anime Boston. But then in October, they had like this like 1 day like online event and they like partnered with JSB to do it. So I got an email from like Anime Japan being like, hey, or sorry, Anime Boston saying we're having this like little event. It was called Anime Sci, and it was just 1 day, but they had like a bunch of different like Zoom events all throughout the day with like different people hosting them and stuff. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Like there were a couple things that I wanted to check out, so I signed up for it, and it was a great event. And then like after that, because I had signed up for like this event with Anime Boston, I got added to like the Japan Society of Boston email list. And so then I started getting emails from JSB, and like a couple, like, I don't know, within a month, there was in like their weekly or I guess monthly newsletter, there was like, we're looking for interns. If you're interested in applying, like, here's the application. And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool and like something I would be interested in. So I applied and I got chosen. So it was great.
It's awesome. So, just generally speaking, what do you think? Like, how would you describe like what you're passionate about yourself? It sounds like whether it's a passion or you're interested in anime, if that's what really got you, connected to JSB.
Definitely. I would say like anime and like pop culture. I guess like Pokemon was my original introduction to like things Japan and Japanese. And then in college, I studied like Japanese language because I got into like anime and manga and Pokemon mostly in high school. And I wanted to study Japanese because I thought it would be really cool to be able to like read manga in Japanese and like watch anime in Japanese, like without subtitles. I was like, it'd be cool to learn Japanese so I could like consume this media in like its original form. But obviously well, maybe not obviously, but my high school did not offer Japanese. So then when I was applying to colleges, I only applied to schools that offered Japanese. And I ended up going to the University of Rhode Island and I minored in Japanese there. And I really loved studying the language. Like I fell in love with studying it. And I was very fortunate to be able to study abroad in Japan during my undergraduate too. And so all of that just like compounded my love for Japan. And like in addition to pop culture, I like have become interested in like traditional culture as well. And like the like, I don't know, intricacies is the right word, but like comparing Japanese society to American society is something that's really interesting to me also.
Got
And so I guess like outside of my passion for Japan and Japanese and anime, I also really love the outdoors. I love hiking and kayaking. I work as a outdoor guide in Alaska in the summer. I've done that for 2 years, and I'm planning to go back again next year. Mostly kayaking, but also hiking, sightseeing, a little bit of backpacking and mountaineering too. And I also really love music and drawing. In college, I double majored in art and computer science, so I really love drawing, both like anime style and also just like realistically. Like if you look through any of my sketchbooks, it'll be like either what I'm like looking at the current moment or like anime characters.
it.
um, and so yeah, I feel like those are like my main passions. I also really love traveling and like seeing new places. I feel like I've been pretty fortunate to get to travel a lot so far in my life, and I really love that. So yeah.
So just based on that, I'm very curious to know, like, what do you think? Do you have like a favorite program or activity from JSB? Does that align with your interest? Because you have a vast array of interests, but I feel like a lot of them are somehow could be connected to Japan.
Yeah. I think I have like two favorite like JSB programs that I've like been involved in. Um, the first one is it was like the first installment of the pop culture series. It was the Miyazaki World with Susan Napier, and I love Miyazaki films. So it was a really like interesting program to me for that reason. But it also meant a lot to me because I helped a lot in like promoting it and planning it and like making visuals for it, and like I just like put a lot of work into it personally. So also like seeing it come together was really fun. So the other event that I have really loved, especially through the the Japan Society of Boston was actually the first one that I went to, which was Anime Sci, which was that collaboration with Anime Boston. And there were, I think, like 2 like segments that I went to, but the one that really stood out was it was someone who was doing live AMV editing, so anime music video, which is, if you're not familiar, where people like for fun take clips of anime and put them to a song. Usually it's like a theme, and they can get really complex and like very like well done and well edited, and like there's all skill levels, but a lot of like anime conventions will have AMV like music video contests. So Anime Boston is one of those. So I guess like as a part of that theme or whatever, they had this little like 1 hour block where there was someone who was like live editing an AMV. So like the Zoom picture was like them like tracing out frames, like it was really impressive, because even though we were there for like an hour, they got like 2 frames done because they were like tracing around this character's hair as she was like leaning forward. And they said that they were going to put that character like in front of another video. So like it would be like her leaning forward in front of like something else. So it was like really cool to see that. And then like during like the Zoom event, she was answering questions about making AMVs and like how she got into it and like what her like journey had been with that. And she was playing like chill music in the background, and she was very friendly and was like, if you have any questions, feel free to like DM me on Twitter, Instagram. And it was just like a really good vibe. And I was like, this is really cool and fun. So
Right.
that was like memorable too.
Mm-hmm. So when you were mentioning your first event, you mentioned some of like the contributions that you like sort of made to JSB there. So now that you're back with JSB, do you mind just describing what your role is and how you help out?
Yeah, not at all. So right now, I guess I'm like the communications associate. So this is like, I've worked for JSB a few times in between when I'm working for Alaska. They've been very generous in having me come back. I love working for them. And so right now I am doing a couple of things. I'm kind of looking at the social media kind of from a backed up perspective, like an overview, and trying to help us like we do a lot of like promotion on our social media for all our different programs and events. But in the past, we've also mixed in more like fun facts about Japan or like cool aesthetic pictures or whatever. So I'm trying to find a balance there, because we don't have like a ton of time and like resources to do that like all the time, but we think it's good to keep that involved as well. So kind of like finding a balance for that. And then I also, in the past, I've done a lot of work on the website, and I've done a little bit of work on the website since coming back. So making little updates and improvements on different pages on our new website. And I'm also going to be helping with like a video series that we're going to be doing, but I haven't started that yet, so I can't talk too much about it. And then helping just with some content creation too, with videos like this. And then also, if you've seen our blog section, it's relatively new, called Famous in Japan. I'm going to be helping write those as well. So a lot of stuff right now.
So since you have a very unique perspective as somebody who's, sort of gone from, being a member of JSB, then working, then a member to working again, what would you say to somebody who is considering joining JSB, since you have that really unique perspective of being in the works and also just getting to appreciate it yourself?
I would say if you're considering joining JSB, definitely do it. It's such an awesome organization. I feel like everyone who works here is like so passionate and like dedicated, and like we're a pretty small team, but like I feel like we accomplish a lot for the amount of like people and like the amount of time that we have. And everyone's like really dedicated and like works really hard and like really cares about what we're doing. And I think that shows. So it's definitely a special organization in that everyone who's working for it like really believes in it, and like we do like a lot of cool stuff. Like we put a lot of effort into like putting a lot of programs on and events and like classes and everything like that. So behind the scenes, it's a really great place. And then also like when you attend events, like you meet so many cool people who are all interested in Japan. So like you have that in common, you get to meet more people. And it's just a great community. So that's what I would say. You should do it.
Thank you so much, Kira.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks.